Sweat Equity Podcast and Streaming Show. We've got our new friend, Prateek Sanjay.
Yeah, you did it.
All the way from Norway.
Didn't think he was from Norway, did you?
I don't know.
Because he's not.
I'd ask.
He lives there.
From
Talking to you.
polydelic.com. Interesting guest. It was a good talk. Let's get into it. Number one comedy business podcast in the world, pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with real raw talk. Hosted by me, Law Smith, sitting to my right, your left on the tube, Eric Redinger.
Some people call me Cool Eric.
Is that your new thing, real raw dog talk?
You
keep saying it.
I don't know.
Where did that come from?
Well, I try to take out the D jokes in the beginning. So we're, you know why? Because we're 2020's best small medium enterprise business advisory podcast in the United States. That's a real award. Thanks, Lux Global Excellence Award, proudly hosted by Lux Life Magazine. Hey, if you like this show, make sure to tell a friend, loved one, coworker, tell someone, hey, you want some real raw dog business talk? Here's
just
where
like
you
that,
go.
though.
Go to sweatequitypod.com or go on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, review.
What?
Write a little comment, even if it's a jerky one. We'll probably read it we'll read it like the Jerky Boys on this podcast. Spotify, yeah, because our period's sick, okay?
I know.
All right, synchronicities. We're on Spotify.
Some people call me Cool Eric.
Google Play, Amazon Music, everywhere you can find podcasts. This episode of Sweat Equity is sponsored by Warby Parker. WarbyParkerTrial.com/sweat. 5 free pairs to try on at home. If you're watching this on video, I'm wearing my Warby Parkers on my fat head, and man, do I have a fat head. WarbyParkerTrial.com/sweat hooks up this show. We need some shekels back. We do this for the love of the game, but of course we love some flow. 5 free pairs to try on at home. Sunglasses, eyeglass wear.
What?
You're getting ripped off if you're not buying from Warby Parker. Yeah, you heard me. You want to pay $300 at Lens Crafters? Are you paying for Oakley's, Ray-Bans? Yeah, they're all owned by the same Italian company, Lexotica.
Gelato. Oh.
That's a callback in the future for the listeners.
Forward.
Yeah. WarbyParkerTrial.com/sweat. Like Key Sweat. Link will be in the description of this episode if you forget. But pause right now if you want. Check it out. It helps the show. Gets a little shekels back here. 5 free pairs to try on at home. Don't like them? Send them back. Get 5 more. I did it. Not only am I an advertiser, I'm a user. Whatever that means.
That is
for men.
definitely how it goes.
Yep, pretty much. Are we ready to get this party started?
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
God.
Oh, we're good. All right. Let's do this before I forget. And how do I say, I want to make sure I say your name without sounding racist. So
don't say it.
Prateek Sanjay.
Perfect. First go.
All right.
Prateek.
I shouldn't have prefaced.
You are good with ethnic names.
Am I?
Like,
I can't.
yeah, like the last one.
I can't
Serena
read
Fazan.
Well, that one took a lot of coaching. If you go back in episodes, I definitely have said her name wrong for almost 3 years of knowing. And she's like nice person Hall of Fame. And so she never corrected me. And I never heard the difference when anybody else was saying it. So I can't read, so I have to hear it. And then sometimes when you hear stuff, it gets imprinted. And so it's tough. So shoot us your plugs. You're doing this from Norway right now. You're talking to us about midnight as we're recording at 6 p.m. our time. Polydelic.com.
Yeah, I work at Polydelic, which is a development company, and that's my full-time job. And just also started a side gig, which is working with live retail, and that's only because one of our customers approached us with that thing, and said, "Hey, we saw that you guys have built something in live streaming. Can you also do live retail?" And we thought, you know what? We don't have anything existing in live retail. But when we started looking into the market, we thought, you know what? Let's just give this a shot.
So I want to hear about that. But first, my narcissism begs to ask, Well, how'd you hear about us? How'd you find us? You know,
Yeah.
we're self-proclaimed bad at our own marketing, yet we talk a lot of marketing.
I mean, I don't remember, but I think what I've been doing is that I have been simply looking. Uh, uh, I've been looking up anybody who has any kind of advice on growth hacking or marketing or expanding your online reach all the time. It's always what I'm Googling, always trying to figure out. And that's why my LinkedIn feed is always full of stuff about that. And I believe when I reached out to you via LinkedIn, something had popped up in my feed, and I think that's how I came across your profile and decided, okay, this guy runs a podcast. Let me check out. And when I saw some really funny episodes, I saw you guys were not just doing pure business; you were also just doing lots of joking and banter and just being regular people. And I thought, yeah, I can vibe with these guys. I want to talk to them.
Love that. That's
That's
what we're trying to go for. I mean, in a LinkedIn very nerfed kind of content atmosphere, I really think, just like podcasting in general, I think there's a real need for real talk in the business community where it's not all just super self-promotion or like
We're scared to say the wrong thing.
or like
Although we did
What
just
we-
give we just did give a gag order to Prateek before the show started.
Yeah.
About what? We're not going to say.
we got
but-
many court cases out there, okay? Some we can't talk about. No, but I'm saying I find podcasting, you know, we're in this duality world now of media where it's short clips, it's sound bites. We get the news. We can only take in so much. It's so fragmented. And so it's getting even grosser in that direction. And then people are really seeking out more long form conversation because that's sadly some of the only real talk people are listening to or kind of engaging with. And so when you hit us up, I can tell you're enthusiastic and you actually listen to the episode and
Amazing.
but also didn't just listen to a part of it. Like the one guy, the Philippines dude, the guy who outsources like middle management in the
Right.
Philippines.
Did his
that we had on.
research for 7 minutes.
Well, he did, and then he like found like one little clip, and I was like, okay, this guy seems like he's legit. He listened to us. That's nice. We'll have him on. And he's like, actually, I only listened to like 5 seconds. Just to
He outsourced. He made a Filipino guy listen to the rest.
right. Yeah, nice.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, I noticed that these days a lot more people are on Twitch than on YouTube. And you know, I'm 30 now. I still remember when YouTube was something new. It feels like yesterday, but that's the funny thing. Like between teenagers and 30, it's like an eye blink. I'm old, I don't realize it. But back when YouTube was new, it was sensational. Everybody was on it. But now YouTube looks too manufactured. Whereas Twitch, you know, there's more people taking interest in Twitch because that's authentic, you know. And I think I like authenticity because I want to see who the business person is when they're not reading off a script, when they make the dumb mistakes and make the gaffies and say all the silly things, as Papa John's guy does, you know.
Yeah. Eric's all about. He loves that guy.
Yeah.
Only after he got fired. He loves.
He became a legend after he became fired.
That's like his hero. Yeah.
Before that, he was like a little old grandma on TV. He's like,
You know, he was one of those guys that was
guy.
doing so much plastic surgery. He kind of started looking like one of those like
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
figurine dolls.
Yeah.
He
No
had,
movement
like,
to his face.
Permanent mascara on.
He
Kind
just
of thing.
had to be in every commercial. Just had to be.
Yeah, and then he dropped the N-bomb, and Eric's like, "I like this guy."
Nah.
Yeah, he
and
did
you know
the
who-
original America, say the forbidden Voldemort word.
I love that he has to take like classes to get that out of his lexicon. He's like,
Right.
he's doing rehab to get rid of it. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, that shit's real ingrained.
I'm
in me.
sure he's taking it very
You know who
seriously.
dropped the dime on him too was the marketing agency he hired for Papa John's. They're like, "Hey, this ain't cool, and we're gonna get this out everywhere."
Yeah.
And he was mad at them. But here's the thing: wasn't he referencing someone else saying the word?
I don't know. You brought it up.
I'm fascinated in that
but you can
because
just say racial slur instead of, you know, the N word, and I don't know.
But
I think some of the older people just don't care. They just the older generations makes a lot of weird jokes, like people are 50 and subs, and I think the Overton window has changed so much that, you know, even I think, hey, you can't joke about that. I was looking at that Ace Ventura movie, and I'm like, wait a minute, the villain is transgender. This
Yeah.
can't fly in this day. and age."
Yeah.
yeah, where they're all throwing.
They're all
up.
barfing
Yeah.
from it.
By the way, I was having this conversation the other day. I mean, I'm on the dating apps, and you're like, Oh, whoa! I just swiped right on a on a trans guy that turned into a chick.
Mm,
Happens a lot way more than you
yeah,
want it to, unless you're into
totally.
it.
I know what you're saying.
But I'll play through. I'm a gamer. So the video you sent us, was that kind of what you're working on? It seemed interactive like Twitch. I'm going to try to explain it because we don't have it set up to show on our video, but it looked like you're showing us a cooking video where it had like an overlay of the ingredients and you'd be able to click on them to buy it. Is that what I'm gathering?
It's literally just an interactive live video, like what you have is that you can just go live on a video and take questions from your own loyal fans or customers. And if they get enthusiastic about what they're seeing, they can shop things from the same live stream without having to go through a link, because going through a link via smartphone or the uh, the browser, that just breaks the focus. And it's like when you're going to a shopping mall or something, you're having an indulgent me time, and some of the most fun you have is just talking to these shopping assistants. Sometimes, like, you go to the mall and this weirdly charismatic cosmetic seller tells you to sit down and starts doing free work on you. I don't know that happens in America, but it does happen in Spain, where I used to live. And you just think like that's part of the fun and experience of going out shopping. And just putting on a show is it just makes things more fun for the buyer. And actually, they've been doing this in China for a long time. Even the people who used to do TV home shopping in China back in the 90s, they're becoming stars again in the world of live streaming. That's why in China they did $600 billion of sales via live stream. And that's why people in Europe started asking, why can't we have it here? So we started looking into building it here as well.
So you're building the platform? Is that how are you? I didn't actually. I watched it. I did actually. Was it Facebook that I saw?
Yeah,
What
you
was
said
it?
it's a Facebook video.
Okay, I didn't. So I did watch it.
Yeah.
But is that? Were you just going? You had to do something other than just through Facebook. What else are you adding in there in terms of the?
Oh, no. It
digital
was
side?
not done via Facebook. Here's how it was. A while ago, we first had our live streaming project for a client as a development company. Somebody said, hey, all our singer, songwriter, and musician friends, they had to refund the tickets during COVID, and they had to, cancel all their concerts and lose all their main source of income. So maybe having live streamed concerts could be a way of for them to get back in business. So we built this live streaming concert platform for them, and that got us attention as we were talking about it. And people said, hey, you built a live streaming platform for musicians. In this live streaming platform, you already have those e-commerce elements that you buy tickets or do donations inside the live stream. So why can't you apply this to retail? And we started looking into it and realized, you could literally just have a live stream play like a web link, and that kind of web URL link you can just embed into your own web page, and this way you don't need to download an app. When you just go to the live stream, which is happening inside the web browser on the web page, then you can just see it right from there and just maybe do the purchases right from there as well. And the thing is that Facebook does not allow third parties to do these kind of things on their own platform, because if they want to do something like live shopping themselves, and I believe they're looking into it, they want to control that kind of revenue.
Sure.
And that's kind of like one of the iffy things about it, that everybody's trying to create these silos, these barriers, that okay, you have a video streaming thing on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, but you don't want that to bring traffic or revenues to third parties. But which is why I like doing things via like a web URL link is a good way to go.
This is so interesting. So I've been saying about Pinterest for, I don't know, 5 years. They're going to discover how to close that gap between you upload, I don't know, Jimmy Choo's shoes and as something on your pin board, right? And we've said on the show, it's the best social media for advertisers of like B2C stuff to get to women who have like 80% of the household purchasing power. and 80% of what women pin.
Not in our house.
Well, not anymore. We have exorcism of the lady, the working lady. But I'm saying that just sounds like we just moved in together. One day, I hope. But no, we're gonna full house it for sure. It's gonna happen. But you're gonna oh wait, that's Blossom. You can
Cut it out.
You can. I do look like Uncle Joey.
Yeah.
But so. What 80% of what women pin to their boards they buy, which I always used to tell people, anybody in the retail aspect of trying to market, like, boom, that's right. That's your quickest route to getting it to the people that want it, that don't know about it, that want it, and buy it right there. Now, what they've worked on and slowly doing it is uploading it like you would do on Facebook with the face analyzer kind of stuff, but with products. So eventually it'll be like you hover over anything user uploaded and it'll be like, is this Jimmy Choo's shoes? Yeah. And that's, and so you're doing that in a sense. Yours is the way I picture yours from the video you sent us. You brought up Twitch. It felt more like that, where you had like kind of pop-ups coming up where you could just click right there as it's coming up. Is that a little bit closer?
Well, okay, that's a fair point, because right now it's just uploading a product sticker in front of the video, right? You just have the ragu sauce or the cutlery stuff as a single static image, and you click on it, you can purchase. But we've had actually access to. So you see, Google owns YouTube, and because it owns YouTube, it has lots of computer vision data and machine learning already done.
Right.
And because it has all that stuff already done, Google via YouTube is pretty good at recognizing objects on video, and they have given that kind of those kind of AI modules out to the public. So my boss, our CEO, he actually in his free time started building something to detect objects while on camera. So if I literally just hover my Android phone on screen, it will just detect, oh, that's an Android, and then you can just click on that and purchase that. That's the next level, which we're also trying to look for funding for. It's not something that we can do today, but I think that would be really the kind of stuff that we used to see in the futuristic movies from the early 2000s, like Minority Report or whatever.
I was just about to say Minority Report, yeah. I swear to God.
I almost had it.
I always think of that bring it up. This is going to happen.
No, I love the that it's a web link.
Bang, boom.
They just click on the web link. You don't have to install an app, because that's the connector to older people.
Make it simplified like Zoom.
Right. The minute you can just any sort of installation of anything is going to be a pain in the ass, and you want to be able to just click twice, boop, boop, and that's it. That's where it's at. I mean, there's no barriers.
Disintermediation.
Yes.
That's such an awesome thing to be able to do. It sounds like right now you have to kind of preload it, but eventually the idea was like, we bring up Captain Morgan rum that we're drinking right now, and it comes up, and it'll populate and be like right here. If we wanted to monetize this episode, right? Ideally, that's where you want to get to.
Oh yeah, in fact, I have been speaking to people who are in the influencer marketing space as well, and many people are trying to find ways to make sure that people who are influencers, they get paid for promoting products better, and that's also something that I want to bring with live stream video, which is the kind of like an influencer toolkit, which is, okay, if I ever promote this face mask on camera or these headphones, fine. If somebody sees me on social media, on Instagram or whatever, or on these live stream videos, and they say, hey, what object is that? I want to check that out. I should probably get paid for a share of the sales in that. And I think that kind of affiliate marketing will be the future. There's a company in Norway called Optimal Print, which does custom printed T-shirts, mugs, posters, and everything. And their formal name is called Gelato. AS, and I don't know why they have
the Italian
formal
dessert gelato.
You got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like ice cream in Italian, gelato. But I don't know why they call that, but you see, they get all their marketing, all their traffic via influencers. That's their main source of traffic. They don't do ads. They don't do SEO. It's all via in. Yeah, I can just write down in the chat optimalprint.no. Like, and I'm trying to realize. Okay, if big corporations, their annual sales are, by the way, $50 million a year. This
Mm.
Norwegian company, and they are doing this via influencers. I'm thinking, hey, it's good that companies are making this kind of money because of influencer marketing. But now, then influencers should start getting the full value of their paycheck, the value that they're bringing to, you know, companies, and there should be a strong way to recruit and monetize and incentivize them. And I think live stream video would be well complemented with ways to recruit influencers or just regular people who just talk about things, because a salesman's pitch, and I speak as a person whose job is a salesman, it's not as credible as just a regular customer pitching to other customers.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to help you out. Your CEO should be giving you Employee of the Month for going out of your way to do an interview
Yeah.
and talk about all this, right? You're the utility player. You're the 5-tool guy. You're doing this on your free time, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like our CEO, he's actually a very charismatic guy who, if he was here, he'd also be bringing a lot of energy. But I think he is really sunk in a lot of work, which he also cannot delegate, because the first thing that you learn as a small business owner is that you have to do everything yourself, and if you try to hire anyone that a small business can afford, well, it ends up being much worse than doing it yourself or more work. So I'm taking up the charge of doing things like finding ways to get new kind of growth for the business. And one thing we are realizing is that ads suck. Cold calling, cold mailing sucks. Although I cold approached you guys as well, but that's another thing. But
Worked out.
Kind of. I mean, I wouldn't call it just cold call, really, because you sought it out. It wasn't like you got a leads list and just sent a bot.
Wait, maybe.
Oh, maybe you did.
Maybe you did.
But I don't even care at that point.
Yeah, we don't tell us.
After the point, but once you made a point of contact, I don't know. It's cold is straight cold. Like, hi, I get all these people that scrape my email.
We
from
get it once a
LinkedIn.
week.
Oh, I get 5 emails. I just started a position. I get 5 emails every day.
I'm talking about for the podcast.
Yeah, or for the podcast too, because I put my email publicly on LinkedIn or whatever, just to let it be scraped and just to see what comes in, because I like to see the approaches. It's like nope. That's like the beginning of the day. Looking at the emails, no, and then I get I've probably gotten 15 messages every day for the last month, just like, hey, do you? And then they do that thing, we've talked about it, where they nag you, where they talk like the pickup artists, where they'll do a bot in LinkedIn and they go like, hey, haven't heard from you. What's going on?
Yeah.
Are you okay? And you're like,
I got one today that was, I literally have not responded to this person one time. And they said, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I got one today that said,
okay, cool. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Keep at it.
I got one
Great.
that said, I guess this conversation's not going to happen, or something like
Right.
that. Like something like, oh, pity me. Like,
Yeah.
And it almost got me. And all I sent back was like, that's pretty good bot script. I appreciate that. But for you, I'm just saying, I'm trying to fluff you up so you can send a clip. You can pull out a clip, send it to the CEO, and go, hey, maybe Employee of the Month. What's up? You're doing everything.
Oh, sure.
And you're
Like,
doing that. You're doing that sweat equity, which is the titular part of the show. Is it's one of those things that you're doing. You give up a 40-hour week to do an 80-hour week when you're kind of you're in a startup community like that. You're just saying it like you got to do it all, right? And so
Yeah.
I saw even in your email signature it says you're in a startup campus, which I think's kind of cool too, and good kind of branding in there.
Yeah, well, in my email signature, Startup Campus. I need to update my email signature because I moved out of Startup Campus to another co-working space. But in fact, like we've been jumping co-working spaces because every month or two, because there's always a better one. But Yeah, about what you were about cold approaching. You know, I at one point realized I was making these really mechanical pitches to people, and I realized, hey, if I was approaching, how would I speak to them? And a lot of common sense struck me. Or I would never shove a corporate presentation in people's faces. Never start with a pitch deck or one pager. I would never start talking about how wonderful or how achieved I am. What I would do is talk to somebody and say, hey, you caught my interest because you were talking about this really interesting topic, and I have some inputs there. We should talk. The moment I started talking to people on the internet the way I would do them if I met them in real life, everything changed. The response rate shot up. And I realized my boss says that a lot of us have been a victim of what he calls corporate damage, where you have been so over professionalized that you start doing the exact opposite of
Yes.
what's the human common sense way of
Yes.
talking to people.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Yeah, don't want to offend anybody because that could hurt the bottom line. That's just no way to live.
Or just going, these like automation tools are going to do it for me, and there's no actual connection trying to be made. You know, like you're like, well, and you can justify it by going, well, we're really busy, we got a lot of stuff going on,
Right.
so we need these things to do this for us, but it's not really doing the thing you want it to do. Like, you're doing it with intention, and you set your, I mean, our mentor talks about he sends snail mail, thank you cards, birthday cards to everybody, and that he's like, what's your open rate for email? And you're like, industry average like 18%. He's like, what is it when I send these cards? You're like, it's 100%.
100, sir.
Because all you get in the mail over here is just junk, or unless you know it's coming from Amazon or something, right?
Yeah.
So his whole thing is like, that means so much more. And I started implementing it, and God bless him, he's true. It's true. It's like, you know, people are like, I can't believe you sent me a handwritten thank you card.
Like if the envelope is addressed by hand, which they try and fake too, by the way, with
Mhm,
those special
mhm.
printers. But if you could, I mean, you're opening that shit.
Oh, mine looks like a ransom note. You know it's
Yeah.
from me because my
Oh
handwriting's
yeah,
terrible.
you got make it
And
it
I
messy.
shouldn't
I
glue
spoke-
magazine letters together. But,
Oh yeah,
you
that's
know,
fun.
But I spoke to a very gifted, smart guy, a bit younger than me, who raised $1 million from Mark Cuban via a single cold email. Maybe you've heard of him.
I've heard of this story, I want to say, but go on.
Well, I spoke to him in person because I wanted to, like, work on him with some projects, and he never wrote more than 3 sentences in that email. All he said was, "Hey, Mark Cuban, I noticed that you've been talking in the media about the need to fight fake news. I'm working with a team of PhDs in AI who are trying to build something to solve this. Shall we talk about this? Because we have the same problem we need to solve." And within 3 sentences, he got that, because what people start doing normally when they try to approach a stranger in the business world is that they start pitching themselves. They go straight to the pitch, going straight to the pitch about where you studied, what you accomplished, what your business has accomplished, all the traction you've done.
We call that the
But
resume brag. Like, guys do this with women on dates, and they don't give a fuck. Like, it's like, oh yeah, well, I was over here, we got my MBA here, blah, blah, blah. They're like, no one likes that,
Yeah, it's bad social skills, it's bad business skills, it's bad dating skills in general. When we talk to other people, the one thing that gets the conversation going is to talk about something which is of interest to the other person for reasons relevant to them, number one. And number two, we don't talk to other people without earning their permission to tell them more, which is I always think when I meet a stranger in real life or the internet, okay, I got a small window to get their interest, or they're just going to walk away and just not talk to me. And I think that's in that short window, I just tell them of the reason relevant to them. And it's something that I had to work on myself, because I have a history of going to a complete stranger, doing an info dump, rambling on them, and then wondering why this person I tried to win over just walked away silently. And now I realize, people don't care about what you think is exciting about you and just hearing you talk about yourself. They want to hear about, something that's interesting to them about you for reasons relevant to them. And just understanding that changes everything.
Yeah. Let's take that email. There's also empathy of sending it to the user, right? Because this guy's busy.
Mm.
He's not going to read a long email.
He was probably drunk.
Can I
$1
get
million? Fuck it.
Can I get
fun today.
his attention and keep it concise? But I'm sending it to solve a problem. There's a lot to actually unpack. So he goes, I see you're doing this. We're working on this. Call to action. I'd like to get, if we can get something, if we could talk. You know, he knows the guy's busy. He's not going to read anything that's like, now here's our whole business plan in the email, in line of the email, right? It's like, he really goes, I wonder if he
bullet pointed it.
Yeah, I wonder if he just really calculated that out like a copywriter was like,
Less is more.
this. But what intrigues the other side, he figured out, it's what Outkast used to say about.
Oh, here we go. Ceiling fans go around.
Bombs over Baghdad. No, I saw an interview with Outkast, and they just talk generally about business and how they did well, and it's like, find the need and take care of it. And so meet it where the need is, kind of thing. And so
Well, I don't know what that has to do with Outkast, but
they put it in my head fucking 30 years ago or whatever, 20 years ago when I saw an interview. But that's business 101 in a lot of ways, right?
Right.
You know, find the need and solve it. Like y'all stuff is, hey, we could be a disintermediary, a disruptor in this kind of retail to video kind of market that, you know, you obviously have some big barriers of, you know, Google, Facebook, Amazon owning Twitch, whatever, whatever those big, and maybe the idea is to sell it to one of them eventually, but at the same time, you go, that's the need, and that's where we're going to strike, and we know it exists. By the way, now my brain's going on fire because I'm thinking about y'all. VR, y'all could crush it in VR with what you're doing. Eric loves the VR.
Oh,
I'm too scared to get into it, but but I would say that is, we don't know when that's going to be kind of more commonplace.
It's a bandwidth issue.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, think about how much you got to be bringing in, just if you're looking around all that, it's got to react and all that. But
VR, some kids in Switzerland approached our company a while ago, and they said that, they were working with a huge industrial client and they needed somebody to manage safety remotely. So the worker on site puts on these HoloLens, and while he's doing the HoloLens, you tried those?
No, but I'm just saying, it's a cool idea.
You could just send a dummy around to see what you need to see as a
exactly, like live streaming. Like the guy they wanted to wait for the guy to remotely see what the guy is seeing by the HoloLens, and just maybe while the instructions pop up to start fixing this thing with the text opening up next to the object, and then maybe what they need is some guided supervision where the guy actually takes his marker on his own computer or tablet screen, says on his own vision, hey, pick that up, by circling it.
Hey, what's it? Yeah, is this rebar popping out or what is this? Yeah.
Cut the blue wire.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's almost trippy. If I saw that, if I'm wearing goggles and I see that somebody's drawing on my own vision, hey, go to that object and pick it up. That's like those video games, like how Call of Duty started becoming after a while, where you saw the compass to tell you where to go.
Right.
Before, games did not have a compass to tell you where to go, but kids these days don't know about that. But
except it won't be a person on the other side wearing it'll just be a robot doing it. You'll be sitting there guiding, walking your robot around the warehouse, fixing stuff and doing all that. You don't need another person there.
So I don't want to forget. You said you're 30, right? Correct?
Yeah, I just turned 30 on 17th March, St. Patty's Day.
Nice. You celebrate that in Norway, I guess?
What?
You celebrate St. Patty's Day in Norway? I guess you would. I don't know. I feel like that's something we glommed on here that's not celebrated really in even Ireland.
We just steal all of it.
Right? We're like, Cinco de Mayo, let's fucking do it. Yeah. We got you frozen.
Norway, they don't celebrate it. Irish people don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day from what I've seen. Yeah, I think none of my Irish friends have ever said a thing about St. Patrick's Day. None of them on social media or in real life. I think it's an entirely Irish-American thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But we always want to ask everybody the first time on the show, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
Oh,
You can time
more
travel.
advice.
You go back in time. You find 13-year-old you living in Norway. I don't know where'd you grow up?
I'm from India. I was born in India. I moved to Norway about 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, what advice can I give to my 13-year-old self?
Yeah.
Uh, I would tell my 13-year-old self to, just ignore all the helicopter parenting, ignore all the pressure to, get into, oh my God, my parents really wanted me to get into Ivy League schools. Just like a lot of Indian and Asian kids, both inside and outside the US. But like, I'm just thinking now, when I look back, in the actual business world, it's actual people skills that count, not your grades, which help you get. And I think I was pretty stunted in developing my social skills because of this helicopter parenting, which focused on grades, 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 school, 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 college, 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 and getting into the best prestigious companies. Because doing well in business is actually about understanding people's needs, and understanding people's needs is about reading them. And a lot of us people in the workplace simply do not read people. I'm shocked by how many people who come from prestigious universities, they are not able to see the obvious lack of interest on the other person in the meeting room.
Mhm.
And they don't know,
Yeah.
oh, I have lost attention and I need to get it back. No, they continue on reading the PowerPoint, continue on with their pitch. And uh, I would just tell my younger self, those social skills are the actual business skills you need to learn. Making a financial model is not a business skill. It's just number crunching.
Love
Yeah,
it.
you came from a finance background, right? To where you're at, as I looked at your LinkedIn.
Well, exactly. I started with the finance background. I did a master in finance in Spain, and I actually had my first full-time job in Spain right after graduation.
Mhm.
I worked in mergers and acquisitions in Barcelona. That was interesting. Like my first full-time job was in Spanish, and before in 2015, and before 2013, I never spoke Spanish.
Whoa.
But that was actually a very nice thing. But like. Initially, I was studying finance because I just heard everybody say, well, you should work for Goldman Sachs or for
Blech.
JP Morgan or Rothschild, And why? Because it's Goldman Sachs. This was a strange circular logic that when I look back, I just trying to think like, okay, what's the sense in it? Like, okay, if you could work 1/4 the hours and make twice the money, would you do it? No, because a lot of people who were in the same class would say, no, I still want to do it because Goldman Sachs. I want the GS on my resume.
Sure.
The prestige cult is so weird. And I would also warn my younger self against that. Like, there's no sense in it.
Prestige code. I like that.
Yeah. Love that.
I want to make sure if you have anything else to plug or get to that we get to it. Because we try to keep these around 33 minutes or so. So I want to make sure I didn't forget anything.
Well,
and
I'd love
we'll
to
have you
learn-
back on,
Well, I want to learn from you guys. What's a good way to do a call to action to a customer, whether it's an email copy or video or any kind of sales and marketing outreach you do?
You already said it. Talk real. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just,
I
make
feel
it interesting.
I feel the first mistake everybody does is doesn't have one, right?
Yeah.
Like you always want the second date. And so it's like, if you're too eager to, if you're too thirsty, as the kids say, that comes off bad. Like you're talking about reading people. You got to kind of play it off kind of like that email. Hey, here's what we're about. Here's what it is. Here's what we're working on. Boom. If you're talking on the phone, they say keep asking questions so you can kind of, what you want to do is kind of regurgitate their needs so they feel listened to, which a lot of people don't do, right? They move on. Because it's like you're talking about with the PowerPoint presentation, like they're so self-absorbed with the presentation, they're not thinking about, when they walk in. You ever see someone try to do a presentation and the fucking clicker doesn't work or the mic's busted?
Yeah.
And they can't
They
get
can't
over
recover.
that. Thankfully, I've failed at stand-up so many times that if I have to walk into a room, you just kind of just move on from it and just go, whatever, we'll just do it. So it's like that's not an easy thing. I think a lot of people have to get out of their own head. And if you're worried about a presentation, memorize this shit out of it.
Yeah.
So you know
No
backwards,
shit.
forwards, because something's going to let you down. It's never going to be like you think when you walk in there. But I think the call to action, if we're talking copy in an ad, it needs to be there. I mean, they have it kind of predictive now, right? Like download, sign up, that kind of thing. If you're talking about relationship marketing like you're doing, you know, it might be more of just keeping the conversation going. Or if you reach out to us with intent and it was like you played to my narcissism, and I was
totally
like,
works.
Yeah. But,
I'm a huge fan.
And I'm totally fine
Yeah?
with it. Yeah.
We're in.
So it's like, I was like, why don't you come on? You know, talk about what you're working on. So, you know, it's kind of like, it's almost like a decision tree if you're doing it in that relationship marketing, see how it goes and go, okay, well, how about we talk further? Don't try to close a deal, you know, coffees for closers kind of shit. Like, of course, eventually you want to do that, but try to have some kind of, maybe sometimes it helps to think about the next thing if you're thinking about before you're talking to someone. All right, what can I maybe get to I'm not going to close on them here, but hey, would it be cool if we have a continuing talk? I'm going to look up the things you talked about, and I'm going to come back to you with some answers. Is it cool if we talk again, kind of thing? I always feel like that's the best.
Okay, continue the conversation. Yeah, that's one of the challenges I face, because sometimes I feel like, okay, the meeting's over, and now I just have to sit and wait to see the person if they get back or respond. No, but like at least some excuse to keep talking is important.
Yeah,
at least
curiosity, you know,
I
find that natural curiosity.
If it's the meeting example, it's like I try to think now, what do I want to get out of this meeting? Like at the end of it, what would be the ideal thing? Like we went into a radio station that was chewing on us for our show, and I go, what's the best case scenario we can get out of this?
Don't cry.
Don't cry. Don't try to make fun of them, because we're gonna get crushed by 5 mics that are in a radio station, and play with them and get out of that. You know, it went almost as good as we could imagine it went.
Yes,
because we went in it like, well, what's a strategy to get the thing we want desired out of it, except for you not getting hired there. But other than that, hey, it still could happen.
That wasn't the plan going in, though. The plan was go,
like,
just don't cry. That was the plan going in.
But don't attack them. Let's play with them. Let's eat any of the shit they're talking to us, and just spin it back, because we were fans. So don't come at it like, well, we're going to go into a roast battle. Let's get out of this.
Yeah.
Let's just have a good time. And that really is the best. So like a work meeting, it's like, all right, what do we want to get out of this meeting? Is it to eliminate worthless meetings and make this quick? Even that in itself can be its own kind of goal, right? So I think you have to look at a call to action from a goal or objective standpoint before you get into, you're doing a video. What maybe is the thing that a subscribe, rate, review is kind of almost fucked out now. So it's like,
I know,
you know, hey, if you like this, just tell a friend about it. That's kind of what we try to say on this podcast.
Yeah, that's great advice, and I think that's why I really like the idea of like live video, because you know, a lot of us are just oversharing our life on the internet and social media these days. Well, why not just get paid for it as well, you know? And I think once you, at least what's nice about live videos like that, because once you're on camera, you just start talking, and once you start talking, there's no script. There's an awkwardness, there's mistakes, there's the gap fees, but at least keeping the conversation going keeps that in interest, you know? And that's why podcasts are popular, at least when they're done like in a not so scripted manner, because it's all authentic and it's a genuine flow of words. And
then listeners have intent. They listen to it. They usually just listen to it purposely, right? So you're meeting them where they want to hear something. All right, we could keep going for hours, man. Let's have you on like 2 or 3 months again and tell us where you're at. We'll be guinea pigs for any of your live streaming stuff. I'm wildly interested.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I like it.
And we'll have you back on. Maybe we'll get your whole team on too. We can do a midnight party.
Cool. Yeah, let's have the whole team on as well. See you guys later.
All right, man.
All right, buddy. See ya.
See ya.
What about my sweat equity?